Since we have successfully created a Notes application with Vue.js on front-end side and Yii2 on a REST API on the backend side, now I want to deploy it. So I'm going to use Digitalocean Droplet for deployment, and actually I'm going to take the following domain, notes thecodeholic.com. So that will be the Vue.js application domain, and for REST API we're going to have api.notesthecodeholic.com. But before we move on the deployment, I'm going to show you a couple of things what I have changed in the code, and we have also to change some more things. So first of all, I created a node service. It's just simple objects, and I'm using that node service in nodes component. And I have moved everything into services folder, every service basically. And one important thing is that in the web PHP, I added that pluralize into true, okay, for API nodes. Now, if we want to make a request, we need to use API/nodes. And we're actually making this request, and the notes application works exactly as it was working before. But we have to make few more changes. Number one change is that when we upload this on production, the database may not be called like this, or the password won't be empty for sure. So we need to have a local configuration file for the database. So for this, I'm going to create a new file, dblocal.php, and I'm going to actually ignore that file. So I'm going to add this in the gitignore, dblocal.php. Okay, so then in the dblocal.php, I'm going to return a configuration object similar to this, which will be merged to this object. Okay, so let me just return an empty array for now, and then I will get back to this. So if file exists, then I'm going to check right here if that a local configuration file actually exists. Then I'm going to include this config require once dblocal.php, and right here I'm going to call array merge, and I will merge that array into config. Okay, so we can override any property described right here in the dblocal, and that will override. Okay, so let's change password, for example. So my password will be 1234. Let's save this, and now if I let's just reload the page, and we will try to get the notes, but it doesn't work. The error says access denied for user root at localhost using password yes, and that's quite accurate. This is the number one change, and the second change is the following. So when we build the Vue.js application on production, it will create this folder right here. I have already built that, which this folder, by the way, is ignored. Okay, it's not pushed. So when we build this on production, it creates that dist folder, and there is hard-coded in this HTTP service that we need to always access localhost port 8080. And even when we upload this on production, it will access localhost 8080. So we need to change this, and we need to configure the production API endpoint. Okay, so for this, Vue.js has the way how we can handle different environments. Okay, so we need to create .env.production file, and here we need to write, we can write just key value pairs, just we need to have view up prefix. Okay, so view up API endpoint equals to whatever we're going to take. Okay, so this one will be the API endpoint, and I'm going to take this as an HTTPS because I'm going to install SSL certificate also. Okay, so HTTPS API knows thecodeholic.com, and that's going to be the API endpoint. So now I'm going to take that, and right here I'm going to declare a constant API endpoint equals process env view up API endpoint. If it doesn't exist, then we can take the localhost port 8080, just like this. And now we take that API endpoint and use this right here. Okay, so we just need to make sure that our API endpoint ends with /. Okay, just like this. So that's all what we need to do. I'm going to commit and push these changes right now on my GitHub, and now we can create a droplet, clone the project, and set up everything what we need. Okay, now I'm going to access my Digitalocean and create new droplet. Okay, so let me create one droplet. I'm going to choose Ubuntu. Let's choose standard. Actually, I need to choose like minimalistic plan. Let's choose $10 per month. So let it be New York. I'm not going to add new SSH key because my SSH key is already added to one droplet, so it will work. Okay, let's create that droplet. It will take like several minutes, and then I'm going to redirect nodes thecodeholic.com subdomain onto this droplet. Okay, so it was created. I'm going to copy that IP. Let's go to the domains, and I'm going to create a record, and that will be nodes thecodeholic.com. Let's redirect to that IP address. Okay, so let's create record, and I'm also going to create a Cname record, which means that everything under nodes thecodeholic.com will be redirected to the same domain, the same IP where the nodes thecodeholic.com is. Okay, so I can add one more a record and say that API nodes thecodeholic.com goes to that IP address, or I can send everything under nodes thecodeholic.com to the same server. Okay, let me do like this. Okay, so we have that nodes thecodeholic.com is redirected to that IP. Okay, let me now ping this to get its IP address. Ping nodes thecodeholic.com. Okay, so it has the correct IP address. Now let's log in to that server and install Apache, MySQL, and PHP and set up the project. So let's run SSH root at and the domain or the IP address. Okay, so I have been successfully logged in using SSH on this server, and now we need to install, let's first install Apache. Okay, so I'm going to run apt-get, first of all I'm going to run apt-get update. My bad, we need apt-get update. Then we need to run apt install Apache 2. I do have a separate video where I install LAMP-stack, Apache, MySQL, PHP plus PHP Storm, and set up a working environment on Ubuntu. So I will put the video link in the description. And you can follow this link, but I will be really quick also. So we have successfully installed Apache. We can actually test this in the browser. Okay, so let's copy the IP address, and yeah, we see Apache is up and running. So I'm going to run the following command to just make sure that ports 80 and 443 are open in firewall. Okay, so we're going to allow Apache fully. So some rules were updated, and now let's install MySQL and PHP. Okay, for MySQL I'm going to run apt install MySQL -server. Okay, so we have successfully installed MySQL, and now let's run MySQL secure installation. So it asks if we want to enable validate password plugin. I'm gonna say no. So I'm gonna specify my password, my root password, okay. So I'm gonna remove all anonymous users. I'm gonna remove root login remotely, and I'm gonna remove test database also. And that's it. So we have successfully installed MySQL. Now let's install PHP. Okay. So let's run apt get install PHP, and we need to install lib Apache 2 mod PHP, and let's install also PHP MySQL. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, now we have to update Apache's config file. So I'm going to open vim etc apache 2 mods enabled dir.conf file, and right here we have the ordering of the files which should be checked first. So first I'm going to check I'm going to change and set that first check PHP file, and then actually we can remove this and then check index.html, just like this. Okay, so let's save this, and we have to restart Apache service Apache to restart. Okay, and that's it. So we have successfully installed Apache MySQL and PHP. Now it's time to clone the project and set it up. So I'm going to open the GitHub, take the URL of the repository and clone it using Git. But first we need to make sure that we have already installed Git. So by default Ubuntu comes with Git, so we do have it. Let's go to the var www folder, and right here I'm going to clone this and call the local folder notes thecodeholic.com. Okay, notes thecodeholic.com, and actually I'm going to do this inside HTML folder. Okay, just like this. So it was successfully cloned. Now we need to go to that notes thecodeholic.com HTML folder, and I'm going to run composer install, but I think we don't have composer, so I'm going to search for Ubuntu install composer. So let's check the Digitalocean link. They have excellent tutorials. So we need to install curl, php curl, mbstring, and so on. So let's run this, and then we need to go to the home page and just download that one. So let's navigate to the home page, let's download this, and then we need to set the hash to be equal to this, and then this line, which will check if the installer is corrupted or not, and it says that the installer is corrupted. Okay. So let's take the second link and see how it proceeds. Okay, so let's repeat the same thing. Let's do like this. Then installer verified, which is cool. And then we need to run the following command, which will make this composer command globally available. Okay, so if we now type composer, we have it. Okay, let's navigate to the var cd var www note thecodeholic.com HTML folder, and here we need to run composer install. Okay, and we need to install a couple of dependencies, couple of packages. So xcurl, xdom are required. So we need to run sudo apt get install php dom phpcurl. And after this, we need to run composer install once again, and now it started downloading. Let's wait until this is done, and then we need to install, we need to configure the database and create virtual host for API. Okay, this is done. Now let's go to the, let's open config/db local php and return, my bad. So we need to return that array from here. Okay, so we have to return array. And let me copy the following 3 lines, okay? Just like this. And let's change the database name first. I'm going to call my database Vue.js Yii2 nodes. I'm going to call my user the same thing, Vue.js Yii2 nodes, and my password should be some random password. Okay, so I'm going to take some random password. Okay, let's generate simple password. Let it be by default. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. That's going to be my password. Let me, oops. Okay, so that's cool. Now let's create a virtual host file. Okay, so we need to go to the etc Apache 2 sites available, and I'm going to create nodes, the codeholic.com file, and actually I'm going to create api.nodes.thecodeholic.com. That's going to be for API, for Yii2 application, and let's hit the enter. Okay, actually I'm going to copy and paste my virtual host file and then modify it. So here's my virtual host file, and the document root is basically var www nodes.thecodeholic.com/web, and that's the place where index.html lives. The server name will be api.nodes.thecodeholic.com. The directory will be the same as the document root. Then we have here a couple of Apache options necessary, and we have error log and custom log directives, and these will be the place basically where the logs will be sent if there is any kind of log on the PHP side. Okay, so I'm going to change this into error.log and access.log, and let's actually save this, and we need to now enable that virtual host. Okay, so for this we need to run a2 inside api nodes.thecodeholic.com, and we need to reload Apache. Okay, sudo service apache2 reload. Okay, and here we have a warning error, it wasn't successfully reloaded, and I think the reason is that because we don't have a log folder, but it will also tell us about this. So where is the error? Document root var www nodes.thecodeholic.com web does not exist. Okay, is that the reason? Nodes.thecodeholic.com/web. That's right, it doesn't exist. That's number one, and can't access directory var www nodes.thecodeholic.com/log. That's another. Okay, actually our document root, let's edit this once again. So our document root has also HTML right there. So nodes.thecodeholic.com/html/web. Okay, so inside the notes folder we have HTML and log folder, just like this. And let's also do one more thing and create the log directory right here. Okay, so we have here only HTML folder. Let's create a log directory, and now let's reload Apache. Okay, it was successfully reloaded, and now let's try to access in the browser. Okay, So API nodes thecodeholic.com. Okay, and here we see an error, and that complains about permissions, and that's because Apache is running using www-data-user, and the whole folder, the whole project is owned by root. So we need to change this. I'm going to run chown to www-data, and I'm going to set the group the same. Let's change the current folder into this recursively. Okay, so and after doing this, we won't have that permission problem anymore, and we have the welcome page. However, if we try to log in, it doesn't actually work. But yeah, that's one problem, and that's rewrite problem. Okay, so Apache, we need to enable rewrite. Okay, A2 in mode rewrite. Okay, so we need to rewrite, and we need to restart Apache. And let's check this once again. So this doesn't work. Inside the htaccess of the project, right here inside the web, we have the correct rewrite rules. Okay, but Apache may not reading and paying attention to that htaccess. So it's always good practice to have that rewrite rules inside the virtual host file. So inside the directory, I'm gonna paste the following command. Okay, so enable rewrite engine. We need anything what is not a directory and what is not a folder, rewrite it into index.php. And we're also saying that the directory index is index.php. Okay, let's save this and let's reload Apache, and let's have a look in the browser. So actually now it works. Okay, so if we try to log in right now, we will get database exception. And I was right. Okay, so we need to create now database and run migration. Okay, so let's log in the database, and we need to run create database command. Okay, again, I'm going to copy and paste creation script and modify some things. Okay, so this is the create user script, and we need to choose the same password as we have written in the DB local PHP. Okay, I think it was this one. So we give the password. Let's give the user what we have given in the config file, Vue.js Yii2 nodes, and the user was successfully created. Now we need to create the database and call it Vue.js Yii2 nodes, and then we need to give the permission of the created user. Actually, we could use root user for this with the given password we have given. So, but it's always good practice to have a separate user for each website on your installation. So if you're running multiple websites on your single Droplet, create separate users for them, and in best case you should also create separate users, system users, not only MySQL users. And you need to run your virtual host using modfpm or modfcgi for specific user. Okay, that will make you much more secure. So if one website is hacked and everything was revealed, the hacker won't be able to access another website, because every website runs its own by its own user and its own database. Okay, I'm just gonna making things a little bit complex, but this is like close to being secure. Okay, so let's give a Vue.js Yii2 nodes to the database name, and we're giving access to the Vue.js Yii2 nodes user. And finally, we need to run flush privileges. Okay, we are done, and the only thing we need to do is we need to run migrations. Okay, so let's run php migrate and hit yes, and we the migration was successfully run. And let's try to log in. We cannot log in, but we don't see any error. However, we can create actually user using the console application. we did it, and we would be able to log in, but let's skip this for now and focus on the first. We need to focus on the Vue.js side. Okay, so let's create virtual host for Vue.js also. So I'm going to copy existing virtual host Apache 2 sites available API and copy this into notes. Actually, I'm gonna do like this. Okay, so okay, and then I'm going to edit that newly created virtual host and change some things. Okay, so the directory root will be HTML. Then right here we have Vue.js/dist. Okay, and the server name will be nodes, thecodeholic.com. Then we will have here again Vue.js/dist, and we don't want that options and things like that, but we can leave it as it is. However, inside the rewrite engine, we need to change to redirect everything into index.html. Okay, so we are running Vue.js application, and every URL, every path should be handled by index.html. It's handled by Vue's router, and we can also set the directory index to be index.html. We can also change that errors to be different from the API, error dot nodes. Okay, so just like this. It would be good if we would leave error.log right here, and we would change the another virtual host into error./api.log, but let's leave it as it is for now. So let's enable that service, not service, but A2 nsite nodes thecodeholic.com service Apache to reload. Okay, it was reloaded, but we don't have that dist folder in the Vue.js, so we need to now build this and upload it. Okay, so let's go to the Vue.js folder and run npm run build from there, and after this we need to upload the dist folder using FTP or in any way you prefer. I'm going to use scp command, which is for copying files through SSH. Okay, so right here I'm going to call scp -r to copy the folder. I want to upload dist folder into the following SSH target: root at nodes.thecodeholic.com var www nodes thecodeholic, my bad, codeholic.com/html/vue.js/dist. Okay, maybe I made some mistake. var www nodes thecodeholic.com html vue.js.dist. Let's hit the enter, and it actually started uploading files. And let's run ls-la once again inside the Vue.js folder, and we do have right now dist folder, and the owner of this dist folder is root because we uploaded it using root, but we can leave this for now. I guess it will work. Okay, so now let's duplicate this link and try to access to the nodes thecodeholic.com. And here we go. So we are redirected to the login page immediately, and we can actually try to sign up, but I think it won't work. And let's see why it won't work. Let's have a look in the network. And the thing is that we are making access or request to the endpoint which has HTTPS. Okay, so we did it like this, and we need to install Let's Encrypt. Okay, SSL certificate. So I have shared once on Twitter the best guides about the installing Let's Encrypt. So I'm going to search for Ubuntu Let's Encrypt, just like this. So the very first one will be, I think, this guide, Exactly, so we just need to follow instructions, and first we need to add the repository. Okay, so let's run this add repository. So then we need to install Python certbot Apache, and then we are, I think, already ready to set up. We have done all these things, and we need to run this certbot, the following command. Okay, let's agree on this. And then right here, we need to run certbot Apache -t. So we need to request certificate for two domains. One will be for API nodes, the codeholic.com, and the second one will be just nodes, the codeholic.com. Okay. Okay, so let's request this. So we're gonna specify here email address, and I'm gonna put my email address. Agree. No. And it started obtaining certificates. Okay, so that's done, and finally it asks if we want to redirect HTTP traffic to HTTPS, and I'm gonna set to redirect, and we saw some red things. Edit HTTP. Okay, it was added inside the rewrite rules, but maybe we need to check the overall consistency. Okay, so let's see how this actually works now. Okay, let's just check. Okay, it doesn't actually work. Okay, so it doesn't redirect. However, if we try to access it with HTTPS, let's see, it works, but the redirect doesn't work. And let's check the same thing about nodes.thecodeholic.com HTTPS. Okay, it works, but what about redirect? It doesn't work. So we need to check that two virtual host files. So actually I'm gonna open them, and I think I know already what I'm gonna do. Okay, sites available, API, oops, I need to open conf file, and here's the rewrite condition. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that rewrite engine on, and because we are redirecting everything to the HTTPS, so we don't want anything right here. Okay, so I'm going to just delete everything, every line, including error log, and that's it. So let's save this, and we need to do the same thing for the second virtual host. Okay, so put there the rewrite engine on, and let's delete everything. And let's reload the Apache, and let's have a look. Let's refresh the page, and I was actually redirected to the HTTPS domain. Let's check the without HTTPS, and I was redirected also right here. Now let's try to register. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and hit the register, and I was actually registered and redirected to the home page. Okay, and now if I try to add the node, it works fine. Okay, so reload the page, it's there, we can add nodes. Let's write there some cool node. Okay, another node, and this actually works. So we hit the delete, it works. Let's try to log in now. 1 2 3 4, and we have been successfully logged in. We can try to create an account with the same name. Okay, the username has already been taken. Okay, let's create another account, and it has different nodes. So that's basically it. So we have deployed the application also successfully. Alright, that's it guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If so, hit the like and subscribe buttons and let me know in the comment section about it. Don't forget also to let me know if you want to see my Yii2 full course on Udemy or any other platform. Thanks for watching and see you in the next time.